I accidentally bumped into my work crush and caught her. She grinned, "Ooh, I need to fall again." The moment she stumbled toward me, I had only one thought: please, God, don't let me drop her. It was Monday morning, the office was crowded, everyone was rushing between meetings, and I was carrying 3 folders when someone suddenly turned the corner. We collided. Papers flew everywhere. She lost her balance, and before either of us could think, my arms were around her waist, holding her safely against me. It was her. The woman I had secretly admired for almost a year. She looked up at me, her cheeks slightly flushed, and for a second, neither of us moved. Then she glanced at my arms around her and broke into the most unexpected grin. With a playful sparkle in her eyes, she whispered, "Ooh, I need to fall again." I laughed nervously, but inside, my heart was beating so hard I was convinced the entire office could hear it. Before we continue, if you believe that kindness, second chances, and unexpected moments can change someone's life, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope, leave a comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories like this to you. Her name was Emma. She was the kind of person who made a room feel warmer simply by walking into it. She remembered people's birthdays, brought coffee for coworkers who were having difficult mornings, and somehow managed to smile even when deadlines were crushing everyone around her. I had admired her from a distance because I never believed someone like her would notice someone like me. I was quiet. I kept my head down. I had spent most of my life believing that staying invisible was safer than risking rejection. Emma, however, seemed determined to make that impossible. After our little accident, she started finding reasons to stop by my desk. Sometimes she asked about a report she could have easily figured out herself. Sometimes she brought an extra coffee and casually left it beside my keyboard. And sometimes she simply stood there and talked about nothing until I forgot I was supposed to be nervous around her. But just when I began to believe something might be happening, life reminded me that hope could be dangerous. One afternoon, I overheard 2 coworkers talking about Emma near the break room. They mentioned that she had been planning to leave the company. Apparently, she had received an offer from another firm in another city. My stomach dropped. I told myself it wasn't my business. We weren't dating. She had never promised me anything. But that night, I sat alone in my apartment staring at the ceiling, realizing how much her presence had quietly become part of my life. The next morning, Emma wasn't at work. Then another day passed. Then another. By Friday, I finally received an email from her. She wanted to talk. We met after work in a small cafe across the street. Rain tapped against the windows while Emma sat across from me, slowly turning her coffee cup between her hands. She looked different that evening. Less confident. More vulnerable. She told me about the job offer and why she was considering it. Her family needed her closer to them. The position would give her a fresh start, better opportunities, and the chance to rebuild a part of her life she had neglected for years. I listened quietly. Then she looked directly at me and asked the question I had secretly feared. She wanted to know if I would miss her. I could have given her the safe answer. I could have smiled and said the office wouldn't be the same without her. Instead, I finally told her the truth. I said I would miss her more than I knew how to explain. I told her that somewhere between the morning coffees, accidental conversations, and that ridiculous collision in the hallway, she had become the best part of my ordinary days. Emma stared at me for several seconds. Then her eyes filled with tears. She admitted she had been waiting for me to say something like that. She hadn't been coming to my desk because she needed help. She had been coming because she wanted to see me. My heart nearly stopped. But there was still one problem. She had already accepted the job. For the next week, we tried to pretend everything was normal. It wasn't. Every goodbye felt heavier. Every conversation felt shorter. Every smile seemed to hide sadness. On her final afternoon, the office held a small farewell gathering. Everyone congratulated her. People hugged her, took pictures, and wished her success. I stood near the back of the room, trying not to look as heartbroken as I felt. When everyone left, Emma returned to my desk. She placed something beside my keyboard. It was a small photograph from the office party. On the back, she had written a sentence. "Sometimes you don't realize you're falling until someone catches you." I looked at her, speechless. She smiled through her tears and told me she didn't know what the future would bring. She didn't know whether distance would make things harder or whether life would eventually pull us in different directions. But she knew one thing. She didn't want fear to make the decision for her anymore. Neither did I. That night, instead of saying goodbye, we walked through the rain together. We didn't make impossible promises. We didn't pretend everything would suddenly become easy. We simply decided to try. Months passed. Long-distance calls became late-night conversations. Messages became morning routines. Some days were difficult. Some days we wondered whether we were making a mistake. But every time one of us wanted to give up, we remembered that rainy evening and the moment in the hallway when she fell into my arms. Then, 6 months later, I was walking through the same office building when I heard a familiar voice behind me. I turned around. Emma stood there with a suitcase. She had returned. She walked toward me, smiling exactly the way she had that first morning. Then she deliberately stumbled forward. I caught her. She wrapped her arms around me and laughed. "Ooh," she whispered, "I think I need to fall again." This time, I didn't let go. Because sometimes love doesn't arrive with fireworks or perfect timing. Sometimes it arrives disguised as a coffee, a nervous smile, a rainy goodbye, or one completely accidental collision. And sometimes, the person you are afraid to reach for is standing right there, hoping you'll finally have the courage to catch them. If this story touched your heart, please don't just watch and leave. Like the video, share it with someone who believes that love can survive distance, fear, and uncertainty, and subscribe to Kindness Corner for more stories that remind us that the smallest moments can change everything. And before the story ends, I have one special request. Comment, "I believe in second chances," if you believe that sometimes the right person is worth taking a chance on. Because maybe that's what life is really about, not avoiding every fall, but finding someone who makes you brave enough to fall again.